You are sitting at a desk, staring at a wall of dry, black and white text. You read the same paragraph 4 times, but nothing sticks. The ticking clock gets louder, your eyes glaze over, and your attention network completely crashes. Standard rote memorization asks you to quietly repeat facts until you remember them, but an ADHD brain requires high dopamine and intense stimulation to function optimally. Trying to learn by staring at a boring textbook is like trying to power a high-performance supercomputer with a single AAA battery. The hardware is fine, but the input is completely wrong. Aaron Katz, a Guinness World Record holder who can instantly recall 500 numbers backward and forward, argues that there is no such thing as a bad memory. You just haven't been given the correct operating instructions for your specific hardware. Instead of fighting your brain's natural craving for chaos, color, and movement, you can actually exploit it. By feeding your attention network the extreme visual stimulation it naturally wants, you bypass the need for tedious repetition and hack the system entirely. Let's start with a classic glitch, the packing list. You are packing for a weekend seminar, you write down every single item, and somehow you still arrive without your sleeping bag. Your brain drops the data because the list is mundane. To fix this, we apply the absurd principle. Neurologically, your brain is highly efficient at filtering out normal, boring information. But if an image is violently exaggerated, intensely colorful, and completely ridiculous, your neurons have no choice but to encode it instantly. We are going to chain your packing list together using this principle. First, picture your sleeping bag, making it a blinding neon pink. Suddenly, it violently bursts open, and out floats a massive, glowing gold prayer book. Next, that prayer book sprouts arms and aggressively scrubs its own pages with a giant spiked blue hairbrush. Then, the brush starts shooting bright orange snacks like a rapid-fire machine gun, landing perfectly inside the pockets of a glowing white skirt that is dancing completely on its own in the middle of the room. You just memorized a sleeping bag, a prayer book, a hairbrush, snacks, and a skirt in exact sequential order. Constructing a ridiculous narrative forces your attention network to lock onto the data, completely eliminating the need for tedious, repetitive flashcards. Now we level up to a heavy text-based history exam. The clock is running, the pressure is on, and you completely black out trying to remember the complex causes of the first aliyah. To retrieve that data, we use a memory palace. This technique maps abstract historical concepts onto highly familiar physical locations. We will use the layout of your own bedroom, splitting it into 3 distinct stations: the door, the desk, and the wardrobe. Station 1 is your bedroom door. The first historical cause is the anti-Semitic pogroms of 1881. To map this, you imagine opening your door to find a violent, dark storm tearing through your room, ripping apart a massive pile of desecrated scrolls and books. Station 2 is your desk. The second historical cause is the rise of the National Awakening. So picture the father of modern Zionism, Theodor Herzl. But instead of a rigid historical portrait, imagine him sitting at your desk, smearing blue and white makeup into his iconic beard, while singing horribly out of tune into a hairbrush. Station 3 is your wardrobe. The final cause is the financial organization Hoveve Tzion. When you pull your closet open, dozens of suited historical delegates spill out onto the floor, tightly gripping a giant overflowing charity box. When the test blackout hits, you don't panic or strain to remember the text. You just close your eyes, take a mental walk through your bedroom, and look at your furniture. The answers are anchored right where you left them. Finally, we arrive at the autopilot bug. This is the daily frustration of losing your keys, transit card, or phone, simply because your brain refuses to record the completely unstimulating act of putting them down. We override this with an attention anchor. You break your own autopilot routine by performing a bizarre physical and vocal action at the exact fraction of a second you put the item down. Next time you drop your transit card on the kitchen counter, physically pinch your arm, point directly at it, and announce out loud to an empty room, "My transit card is currently staring at the microwave." It sounds foolish, but that sharp physical and vocal spike forces your brain to capture it. It instantly moves the location of your card from passive, easily deleted short-term storage into active, conscious encoding. The quiet, static environment of a traditional classroom was built for a very specific type of learner. Struggling in that environment does not measure your intelligence, it measures the limits of an outdated system. Just look at your next reading assignment. Instead of passively scanning the words, actively direct the material as a high-budget, absurd, intensely colorful action movie playing inside your head. Stop trying to force your highly active mind to act neurotypical. Feed your brain the extreme chaos and color it actually craves. When you do, you stop being a victim of the education system, and you become the hacker who beats it.